Everybody, today's gonna be a super short lesson. We just need to finish up the graphing for sines and cosines. We're gonna be looking today at kind of going backwards from what we did last time. So last time we took a function and then we graphed it. We're gonna be taking a graph now and going back to a function. Okay, so really not too much anything different here. We're gonna start with the same steps. We're gonna look and see. I like to start with my amplitude. Where is that? Remember, amplitude goes where it goes to the top, where it goes to the bottom. And the reason I like to start with the amplitude is if I'm dealing with cosine specifically, especially, it's not super obvious sometimes where the midline is. But if I find the two amplitude lines and then just kind of count in from the top and the bottom, I can find that midline. Now for sine, it's a little bit easier, right? Because sine does start at the midline. But for cosine, I would definitely recommend just doing the amplitude lines first. So now I know where my midline is. I know where my amplitude lines are. So my midline is at 2. My amplitude goes up and down by 3. Okay, we'll deal with if that's positive or negative in a second. For the period, this is the hardest part. Okay, so what you want to do here is you want to follow your curve. Okay, now you notice I'm starting at the midline and I'm going down. And you're just going to follow your curve until that repeats, okay? So it's not repeating here because here I'm going up. So I want to find a spot where I'm starting at the midline and I'm going down, which is going to be right here because it's from right here I'm going down from that midline. Okay, so my end is right here at 2 pi. Okay, and we're going to use the same actual basic formula. We're going to use 2 pi over the period, and that's going to give us b. So in this case, 2 pi over 2 pi, so b is 1. Okay, last thing we need to do is decide if this is sine or cosine. Since it's starting at the midline, it is sine. Okay, so amplitude. Now amplitude, remember, is going down here. So if we're dealing with sine and it's going down first, it is going to be negative amplitude. Sine of b, which in this case is 1, so I don't really need to put that, plus 2. That's it. Done. Okay, so again, these ones aren't too bad. Don't overthink them. For cosine, we're going to do the same kind of thing, and this one is a cosine. We'll see that in a second. So again, I like to start with the amplitude lines because it's not, again, always super obvious where your midline is, especially with cosine. Okay, so my midline is at -4. My amplitude is 1. Remember, it's up, how much up and down from the midline, not where it's actually going to. And then my period here, period actually for cosine is really easy. If you start at the top, remember you're going to end at the top. So then it's going to end there. And if you start at the bottom, you would end at the bottom. Okay, so that's going to end at pi. So 2 pi over pi, pi's cancel, b is 2. Okay. So last thing we need to do, we said it was cosine because we're starting at the top. And since we are starting at the top, it is going to be a positive 1 amplitude. So 1 cosine of b2 theta minus or plus the midline minus 4. Don't really need that 1. So I'm going to say cosine 2 theta minus 4. Okay, and that is it. So again, don't overthink these ones too much. Really, it's just kind of working backwards. The hardest part's finding b from the period. Okay, but really, again, it's just the same formula, just backwards. 2 pi divided by period also gives you b. 2 pi divided by b also gives you period. So again, nothing super fancy here. We're just working backwards. And you could always take this, right, and then regraph it and then compare your graph and make sure it matches up. Okay. If you have any questions, make sure you're coming in for that RTI Fridays. If you're online, if you're in my virtual classes, make sure you're coming in for office hours. We also have before and after school tutoring. Make sure you're coming for that as well if you're needing that extra help. This is the last lesson for the regulars for this unit. So we will test next time. Make sure that you're getting that work done. There's going to be 2 parts for the homework today. You're going to have a part where you're doing some more graphing like we did last time. And then you're also going to have some where you go backwards. Okay, so just be aware of that. There's going to be 2 parts for your homework today. Look for both of those, and I will see you guys next time.